Thank you very much. You got it right, and there's nothing to hide there. It was clearly written in broad daylight. It was a letter of intent, and that a commitment on the part of our partners in Brazil to pursue this deal. What are the next steps? The next steps are one, by Q1 2025, a team from JBS, BRF, and Bestway are coming to Nigeria to do an exploration, to have engagement with us, and then begin to do some feasibility studies regarding the siting of those projects. In the meantime, we in Nigeria here, the delegation that went to Brazil and met them, we are not resting on our oars. We are doing a lot of legwork. Professor Kuta just mentioned that His Excellency the Governor of Niger State, who was also at that signing ceremony, has already pledged 1.2 million hectares of land. And along the line, if you look at the Sokoto-Badagry Highway, there are a number of unutilized dams. And we do believe that in terms of suitability, provision, availability of body of waters, vast amount of land, evacuation, etc., that corridor is the most suitable. But we are not saying that other locations in the country are going to be are not going to be included. So at the moment, this is what is happening. And by that letter of intent, it's indicated that yes, they have listened to us, we have agreed that they will pursue that. Now, it is not a legally binding document. Let me say this upfront. Now, but it has indicated that those investors have seen the potentials in this country. And what are those potentials? Number one, everyone knows about the population of this country. More than 200 million Nigerians. Number two, the issue of climate. Similarities between Brazil and Nigeria are just too good in terms of weather systems, in terms of soil, in terms of the ecology, etc. The cattle that we are going to use will be a combination of the Brazilian breed, which is now being used by those plants, and Nigerian breed. So the Brazilian breed will survive in this country. I have personally run with some of them on my farm. The issue of crops, etc. In this country, just like the professor said, we are dealing with peasant farmers who have no opportunity for upscaling. The issue here today is about application of scientific methods in terms of soil analysis, to be able to know what crops do those where, what kind of fertilizer you blend, you apply, etc. Now, this is not happening in a vacuum. Remember that the Presidential Livestock Reform Importation Committee is going to transform the entire Nigerian livestock system. We are not going to remain as pastoralists. We are not going to remain with low-yielding cattle. In terms of our cows today, hardly give you more than 1.1 liters, while the world average is almost 15 liters. There are cows that do almost 90 liters. In fact, there is the record holder, the Girolando, is doing 127 liters per day. So it's not going to happen in a vacuum. What I'm saying here is that the environment is now ripened. It's now ripe for these companies to come in, and we are going to pursue it. So as far as we're concerned, that document is a signal that there is confidence in the Nigerian economy. Investors are coming. But we are now doing the legwork to receive them Q1 2025, to continue to explore, do feasibility studies, the architecture of the investment, etc. is going to happen. And as these things unfold, we are going to keep you posted, we'll keep Nigerians updated, and then we'll see at every stage we are going to communicate.
How ready are we to deal with this, by the way? Because it's one thing to have investors pledging to come in. Let's say we manage to convince them to eventually make it happen. Are we ready? Nigeria's bureaucracy can be a problem sometimes. And we've seen in times past where, that bureaucratic bottleneck makes investors say, no, look, we can't deal with this. We've had situations where corruption becomes an issue. Are we ready to deal with these so that we can make the most of this deal, this potential deal?
We are ready, because this is not happening in a vacuum again. Let me say that part of this delegation, and a very, very important driver, is the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. Nigerian investment, NIPC. They are in the driving seat. Number two, the component also involves Nigerian investors. It's not as if they are coming here just to invest. The local Nigerian entrepreneurs are part of it. If I give an example, if you have a blade of scissors, is it the upper blade or the lower blade that cuts? Can you tell me? Which of them cuts? Which of them cuts?
Both.
Both of them. One cannot cut. The lower cannot cut alone, and the upper cannot cut alone. So the idea here is that both of them have to complement. And the Nigerian investors are also convinced and they are ready. But the details will come out as this is unfold. But just to tell you that the issue of corruption and every bureaucracy they're talking about has already been taken care of. We are sure the NIPC is in a proper footing as an SPV. I mean, as a government parastatal to drive this. Here again, the livestock ministry is already on ground, and we are part of this process. Number three, Professor Kuta talked about the Presidential Livestock Implementation Reform Committee. And that document is there. And this is part of the outcomes of that implementation. And if you see the rapidity of these developments, from the committee that was headed by Jega under the former governor of Kano State, to the national committee headed by, co-authored by Professor Jega, and the CNC, the president and CNC was the chairman, Professor Jega was the co-chairman, and distinguished Professor Kuta was the secretary. The creation of the Ministry of Livestock Development, the appointment of a minister, then the designation of an office, the location of an office for that ministry to take off. Look at the rapidity. It tells you that the issue of bureaucracy has completely been conquered.